I am sure all of that was clear as mud, so let's start at the beginning here. First of all, now, this is 911, and all 911 asks you to do is make the estimate or create the estimate of the aging of the accounts. And they've given you all the numbers here. This is actually 0.5% and 2%, and you can see, and they've totaled up the balances, and they've given you the percent. So now all you have to do is multiply this out. So I'm going to do it the easy way, because your instructor's lazy, and my brain's not functioning quite well yet. So I get a total, and I'm going to pull that down and total all of those, and this should give me a total of my bad debts. And that total is 44,260. So now we have three scenarios. One scenario is the allowance account has no beginning balance. The second scenario is there's a beginning credit balance of $2,000. And the third one is there's a beginning debit balance of $2,000. Now, you don't have any of this from this point forward on your activity. So just bear with me. I want you to understand how that allowance account works. This is the answer for exercise 911, period. The rest of this is going to be an explanation. In the first scenario, if there's no beginning balance, and I want the balance to be in this 44,260, and this typically has a credit balance, what do I have to do here? Well, my bad debts is going to be 44,260, and I'm going to credit my allowance account for 44,260. And that simply sets it up. And I have my bad debts allowance set up, and I have my bad debt expense recorded. And that's not supposed to be that way, but you kind of get the idea. Now, in the next scenario, what if I have a beginning balance, credit balance? This tells me I need to have an ending balance of 44,260 here. How do I get that? Well, the easiest thing is I have to credit this, right? So what do I have to credit it for? Well, $2,000, 44,260 minus $2,000 is 42,260. So, my bad debt expense needs to be 42,260 instead of 44,260. Because I already have a previous balance here. See that? So that makes the bad debt expense not there. No, that's not working. 40, that's not working either. Let's come back to this. I just want that to be a regular number. Can you guys bear with me while I fudge around with this? Just a number. And I want it to be 44,260. There you go. Okay, now I'm happy. Makes more sense. Actually, it's 42. Okay, now we're good. So, you can see if I start with a balance here, then my adjusting entry for the bad debts has to be add to that to make that 44,260. So, now there's one more scenario. Let's come down here. I have a beginning debit balance in the allowance account. And I still want this to be 44,260. So what do I have to credit my allowance account with to be 44,260? If I debit it for 44,260, what kind of balance is that going to give me? If I just do 44,260 here, Well, I've got to subtract this 2,000, right? Because it's a debit against it. So that means when I have a debit balance, I have to add it to this 44,260. So this would become 46,260. Now, when I net the two, I come up with the right balance. So my bad debt expense would be 46,260. I picked the wrong numbers, didn't I, guys? Way too close together. And that's how you keep your allowance account. It's sort of like the petty cash, you know. Whatever number you need to balance it is the number that you subtract or add. So that is exercise 911. Remember, 911 literally is just this here. I used the rest of this to kind of explain this allowance account and how you get the adjusting entry that's required for the bad debt expense. So, thank you. Email with questions.